Hello, welcome to Scott's Odyssey. A question I often receive in comments across social media is, what is your channel about? And what are you doing? Well, today I'm going to explain to you what I do. I am Scott of Scott's Odyssey, a historical urban explorer. See you in a minute. Welcome back. When I was a child of about 12 years of age, I took my first steps on this odyssey. Funny thing is, it wasn't until about 4 months ago, in August of 2019, that I was even aware that my life's journey would bring me to where I am today. It wasn't until I was in my 40s that I realized that I've been an urban explorer my whole life, which brings into question, what is an urban explorer? Many people consider urban exploration a modern form of exploration, but in reality, it is a tale as old as time, and the only thing that separates modern urban explorers from those of the past is the readily available digital camera and the internet, combined to provide a medium to show their work to others. Similar to when you catch a fish and tell the story, if there's no pictures, it's your story and no one will give it any credence. In other words, no picture, and it didn't happen. But before we talk more about the people of urban exploration, let's define what this phrase actually means. Urban exploration is a modern phrase that is used to reference a group of people whom are in love with cultural anthropology and archaeology. The modern term for how society and culture existed in combination with analyzing their artifacts and other physical remains is sometimes called ethnoarchaeology. Most urban explorers are completely unaware of that science being at their core, but that is not a problem because we are still able to functionally communicate our experiences without that specific title. Urban exploration is also known by many other names, such as UrbEx, which is the short form of the name, and UE, which is the acronym. And then the many self-defined types of urban explorers, such as me calling myself a historical urban explorer. That which drives the urban explorer is the seeking of the ability to freely roam where no one else cares to roam. We like to see what people have forgotten, go places that others think are dangerous or forbidden, and many times it includes locations that people perceive as trespass, invasion of privacy, or extremely unsafe. Fortunately, many urban explorers are devout about keeping the peace and obeying the laws. The acts of trespass or invasion of privacy are just stigmas attached to the explorers by people who do not understand what we do. Unfortunately, the extremely unsafe aspect of urban exploration is a very real and present danger. This doesn't mean precautions aren't taken. It means many of these explorations require foreknowledge of the environment and very, very diligent preparations before we go out to a site. When I was a preteen living in the inner city of Philadelphia, we had a lot of urban games we used to play. Most of the games required a ball. An urban environment is not truly friendly to any form of ball play due to the close proximity of, well, everything. While playing step ball or curveball or wire ball or even wiffle ball on the streets of a big city, the most dangerous part of our game was when someone lost control of the ball. This ultimately ended up in a ball that you would chase as fast as you can, run down along the street curb to have it ultimately get eaten by the storm sewers at the corner of each block. When a storm sewer ate your ball, that was the end of the game. And well, the ball. Or was it? At age 12, you take a lot of risks. I was one of the kids who would crawl into the storm drain to retrieve the ball, and the other kids would help pull me back out. On the other side of the loss of control of your ball was what we called roofies. We're not referring to any form of date rape street drug, because at that time we didn't even know what that was. What we're referring to is a person who threw, hit, or bounced a ball that went up onto a short roof, into a rain gutter, or the other side of a really tall chain link fence. At age 12, this meant there was a need to climb. Whatever the obstacle, it had to be climbed in order to retrieve the ball. When one of us brave souls achieved the apex of a location to be climbed, the first thing we did was retrieve the ball. But what followed was every other ball ever lost, and then the curiosity of seeing the world from a completely different view. This seeing the world differently quickly turned into a pastime. The new game was the climbing of walls to get on top of buildings, and then exploring the different equipment, the shafts, and even the unlocked doors and where they would lead to. I was fortunate enough to live in a part of Philadelphia that had a private golf course right in the middle of the city. This golf course held a creek that was the end exit for all the storm sewers. Upon secretly entering this golf course through a hole or by climbing their fence, we would explore the wooded area as if on a great safari into the deep jungles of the Amazon. Along the creek, we'd see if there were any fish, something very foreign to an inner city kid who had only seen them in a small tank or on a plate for dinner. But there along the creek is where we would find the outlets of the storm sewers, and a new level of exploration into the underworld began. As I got older, I found myself working in positions that often had me going places that nobody else would go because of fear, danger, or abandon. And when I say going places that nobody else would go, I'm not talking about sneaking on the properties or trespassing into legally forbidden areas. I'm talking about things such as the steam tunnels under my high school or the colleges I went to, attic spaces of large buildings to go and run wire and repair lights, sewer tunnels to remove debris or clear jams, crawl spaces to remove rodents, fix the plumbing, or adjust the foundation. That brings us back around to modern day urban exploration. What is it and why? Urban explorers all love to roam in locations that are man-made, regardless of if it was 1 year ago or 100,000 years ago. Man-made structures can be absolutely fascinating. Abandoned. In this case, abandoned means that for whatever the reason, the locations become vacant, and we're curious as to what is at this location and why is it abandoned. Again, empty for a year or 100,000 years doesn't make a difference. The drive remains to find out why is it empty and what's inside, as if hunting for a treasure lost to time and memory, or seeing something that nobody wants you to see. Number 3, history. What was this? Why was this? They are both questions perpetually on our mind as we explore these sites. Sometimes the real history is not as great as a story that we create in our minds, similar to the excitement of watching a phenomenal magic trick, and then they show you how it was done, and, well, the magic is then lost. Number 4, danger. It doesn't matter if it's the danger of getting hurt or doing something out of normal margins of what everyone else considers safe, or the danger of violating the law and the repercussions of those actions. but the adrenaline behind the danger adds to the excitement of exploring someplace different where no one else will tread and would rather forget it even exists. It is the same reason we tell ghost stories when it gets dark. Urban exploration has several different types of subgenres, where there are those looking to only do tunnels, those who only like abandoned residential or commercial buildings, those like myself whom love the historical remnants of our past, and even those who seek to find the unknown, like the paranormal. As urban explorers, we do have a code, kind of. This code is not formal, nor is it kept on a plaque, nor does it require a signature. It is generally agreed upon code of ethical conduct when exploring the abandoned. The reason for why it is not formalized is quite simply, it would go against the entire culture built around why we do urban exploring in the first place. Regardless, just as those who explore the woods or deep ocean, and pretty much for the same reasons as we explore the remains of mankind, here's our loose code of conduct. 1. Never explore alone. This one is first for a reason. One would think it's common sense to not explore an unknown location by yourself, but that isn't always the way it gets practiced. No matter the level of skill and awareness you have, the exploration of a derelict site comes with inherent danger in its very existence. Because of this, to go alone is an almost guaranteed death sentence. Eventually, something's going to happen that will require someone else's help. Number 2, ask permission. Almost every site you visit is a site of trespass. It's private property or some form of do not go there. The primary reason is because when someone gets hurt or dies, the proprietor of the location will inevitably become the victim of lawsuits for the stupidity of the person who became injured or died. Even though the owner's not at fault, they're the ones people will seek to blame, which quite honestly is wrong. I have found that a simple phone call or house visit to the proprietor of the property, along with simply asking permission and explaining my intent, typically grants me full access to the properties, as well as a wealth of information of what they have found out about the history of the location. Number 3, the golden rule. Following in the footsteps of the Sierra Club and Conservation, take nothing but photos, leave nothing but footprints. Just as those whom go hiking and exploring in nature, to change this environment you are exploring will directly impact any creature that has turned it into a habitat, and it would ruin the exploration for the next UrbExer who decides to come and explore this beautiful site. Number 4, some locations are just not to be explored. Never break or destroy anything in order to gain entry. Some sites are just unattainable and meant to be closed to us forever. Whether we got there too late in its timeline or the location was just too derelict to enter, heed the warning that a shut door gives you. Do not break into the location and do not destroy the location in order to enter, because you will be surprised when nature's course destroys you right back. Besides, it's been my experience that if you look hard enough, there's always a crack that you can squeeze through. Number 5, never run. If you are trespassing or frightened by an animal or some ghost or ghoul is coming to get you, do not run. You're caught. The act of running will almost certainly end up with you getting very seriously injured or even dead. You didn't go into the structure because it was safe. Number 6, have fun exploring, but be safe. Just like those who explore the woods and forest and prepare for a worst-case scenario, urban exploration requires an equal or maybe even a greater amount of diligence when it comes to safety. Now, we do natively violate safety on a regular basis. That's part of urban exploration and why it is attractive to an UrbExer But even when we do that, it is normally a well thought out and heavily weighed risk mitigation. Number 7, this is important. Never divulge the exact location. It may seem odd, but the reality is that when you give an exact location to someone of an urban exploration site, you unwittingly invite that person to explore the site, and that person has not done the research nor the preparations to explore the site safely or garner appropriate permissions. Oftentimes, those people also arrive at the site with illegitimate intentions. For example, there was a particularly interesting abandoned cemetery that I was seeking to find in order to complete one of my stories. It was extremely difficult to find and equally difficult to get to. Now that I know where it is, I could probably get to it in less than 30 minutes, as opposed to the original 3 hours of research plus another 3 hours of actually trying to find that location. By giving the quick and easy on how to get there, I now have opened a door to millions of people, and it only takes one to go and desecrate the location. So unless it's a common public site, I do not divulge the exact location. If you follow my stories and my clues, you may actually be able to find them after you've done some investigation. If you have done that much work to get there, then you most likely will not be that person with ill intent. The personality of most urban explorers is interesting. Most, but not all, urban explorers are somewhat introverted, and all of us are very curious. We as urban explorers are a community who are not in competition with each other, but we work together to provide you with photography, videography, and a history. We are not criminals, and we do not do anything with an illegal intent. What we do is no different than what you watch on television shows like Ghost Hunters, or shows with Josh Gates, Expedition Insert Some New Name Here, or even that which you find interesting from Mike Rowe. What? Did you think you watched Dirty Jobs because the jobs were dirty? The reality is that Mike Rowe was exploring locations that you feel are off limits and not to be ventured into by a normal person. Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs was an exemplary example of modern urban exploration, going into locations, although not abandoned by definition, but abandoned by our mind's eye and our cultural stigmas. And he showed us what stories and treasures lie beyond the locked doors. Thank you, Mike Rowe, for opening those doors just a little bit wider. In the end, urban explorers are seeking to not only explore, but to relay the stories and the images of what we as mankind have left behind. I am an urban explorer with a keen fascination on the history and the oddities of these lost remnants. We, the urban explorers, we provide a testament to humanity's exploits. We are the last witness, the last witness, the last witness. I hope this answers a lot of questions regarding urban exploration. I look forward to your comments and suggestions, and know that they will explode with differing opinions, all of which will most likely be correct. In the meantime, I hope to continue providing you with quality explorations into more locations and more history that is all but forgotten. Give me a like and leave me a comment below. Please subscribe. I have many viewers that watch regularly, and I thank you, but I need the subscriptions to continue being a creator. More than any donation of money, I want you to share my videos to all your social media. Thank you again for coming along on Scott's Odyssey. Until next time. It's getting cold 'cause temperature's going down.